sinus infections. Um, and I'm telling you now that the sinus pressure that a lot of people are feeling can also clog the eustachian tube. So the gut and allergies and all those different things happens to deal with the microbes in our gut, and they basically have to communicate with how the brain and the vagus nerve goes up and down, and they can control electrolyte imbalances as well. So sinuses and the gut is highly, um, yes, the stomach, those microbes are very associated with hearing loss. So if a person gut lining is, yeah, the throat is definitely one as well. But even better than the throat is the thyroid. Let's take this off, guys, because this is important. The thyroid connection, iodine deficiencies. Yes. So thyroxine is the thyroid hormone, and it is required for the cochlea and the auditory areas to mature. So in order for those hair cells in the cochlea to mature, it needs thyroxine. And it also needs vasopressin. Now, vasopressin is a hormone that is secreted from, let me put this up here so you guys know. Vasopressin is a hormone that's secreted from the pituitary gland. All right? And it is highly linked to Meniere's disease because there is a low electrolyte imbalance, and it also happens to do with your iodine deficiency. So that falls in the category of having a low thyroid, a hypothyroid situation, a Hashimoto situation. And a lot of them have, 60% of them have hearing loss. So know that the thyroid, needing that iodine, and you find this in children as well, if your child is 2 years old and they're hearing muffled sounds and they're having speech impediments, it is a good thing to start with using iodine, because that if they don't, then they will start to have hearing loss. So use the iodine. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yes. And I want to go over some of the medications. So people have been using these powerful antibiotics, especially when they have, um, an ear infection. They'll get on these antibiotics, and they'll cause even more problems. So there's an antibiotic called gentamicin. Make sure I'm spelling that correctly. Maybe you guys can look it up. This is an antibiotic, and it can cause hearing loss. Another thing is these chemotherapy drugs. So chemotherapy drugs can cause hearing loss. Um, and they directly affect the cochlea. So if you're already having some of these hair cells missing, then adding chemotherapy to it is just going to break off more of them. And once these hair cells, they don't really grow back. So this is the reason why people would have to get the hearing aids, the cochlear implants, because they don't grow back. And I do want to share with you guys my method on how I think they can grow back. Also, these are diuretics. Diuretics cause electrolyte imbalance, guys. So, if you're taking any type of diuretics because you're on high blood pressure medications, or you have high blood pressure, know that you're taking away from your potassium, taking away from your calcium, sodium. All those levels are being imbalanced, and it can also cause some hearing loss. And we know that the ears are highly connected to our serum levels, our blood levels. All right, so we get a lot of nutrition for our ears, going through these nervous systems, going through lymphatic glands that are here. Now, exercises that I want to share with you guys before I go into how I think we can actually regrow hair cells. I studied the latest studies. I'm talking about 2018 Journal of Neuroscience. Shared with us about these epidermal growth factor receptors. And they are responsible for activating the support to our auditory organs. All right, so they have found that birds have a way to regrow these hair cells, and they do this by these epidermal growth factors. And I drew up a little picture right here. Maybe I can get you guys to understand this picture of this cell membrane. All right, so there's a dimers. This is a dimer. This section here is a dimer, so they go through what they call dimerization, and they have to connect. So this whole structure is what they call a monomer. and they connect to the cellular membrane. This is the extracellular matrix, and this is the intracellular matrix. So the inside of the cell, outside of the cell. And outside of the cell, there are these epidermal growth factors that can bind to these basically EGF molecules. And once they bind, they activate this terminal. So these terminals, which is a carboxyl group terminal, they carry more phosphates. They're able to phosphorylize, basically a process called phosphorylation. You guys can look that up if you want to, but they act as anchors. So as an anchor, they will grab onto other growth proteins, and this is the way they can use transcription factors. And we're going to talk about more, especially transcription factors, on how they happen inside of the cell and how they're able to express certain proteins and genes. So this is what we're doing. We're using certain proteins like kinase, a tyrosine kinase. And these are growth adapter proteins. This is our anchor. They can use kinases, tyrosine kinases. And if we had more tyrosine kinases, what we're going to be doing is using that to activate other proteins. So just say this is a GDP, and what that is guanine diphosphates, and we need to change that into I'm just making up certain genes, guanidine triphosphates. So we need phosphates. All right, so we need phosphates in order to get rid of earwax. We need phosphates for our accelerated thinking. Phosphorus is a good thing to have. Even if you start to use the sodium triphosphate I talked about, it's a certain way you have to use it. You can't drink a lot of that. You have to drink maybe like 1/4 of a teaspoon inside of some chlorophyll. And that will help provide more manganese, it provide more copper into the cell, especially mitochondrial health. We're going to get there next week. But what we're trying to do is create new genes. All right, so this is what they talk about when they talk about stem cell research or stem cell grafting. And another way that we can regrow, especially these little small hair cells, we have to build more proteins. And the way we build proteins is to take that phosphorus. And another way we can use, this is a supplement. I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys. But I'm thinking on top of thinking, and inositol phosphate, or another form called IP6. Sodium triphosphates. All right, you can use those as well. Spelling that wrong. And I said tyrosine. So what we're trying to do is say that the more proteins that we have, that we're able to express, the quicker our cells can grow. Now that doesn't mean you have to eat more proteins. That just means that you have to include those supplements. So we got the inositol phosphate, sodium triphosphate, and tyrosine. Okay. All right. So I want to go over some exercises with you guys that can help you open up the eustachian tube, that can help you also loosen up lymphatic glands, because there's a lymphatic gland right here at your temple, right before your earlobe. So if you were to push your earlobe upward, I'm talking about towards this way, what you're doing is actually creating an opening in the eustachian tube. All right, so you can pull it, you can grab it in total pinion. This is your pinna, and you can pull it out. And I would say recommend it both ears, maybe 5 to 10 times. All right, and what you'll feel is you'll feel the opening, and you can stretch your mouth and allow that opening of the eustachian tube to open. So pulling the pinna and pushing forward your earlobe will open up that area. Also, tendonitis. Guys, write this down in your notes, because tendonitis is basically that ringing of the ear and that buzzing sound. And a lot of methods that they have out there is just basically trying to mask it, trying to cover it up, or something that's a little bit more soothing rather than the buzzing noise. And the buzzing noise is coming from these towers, guys. Just to let you guys know that the buzzing noise is this 5G towers. It's more people that's receiving it now, and more people are becoming more sensitive to it, especially those targeted individuals. They have the EMF waves that are going through the house, the Wi-Fi 6. And those things are causing this buzzing within our cranial nerve. And basically the eighth, this here, there's a section under your ear. I'm going to draw that right there, just to share with you guys. Right here, up under your ear, where you see the ridge here, there is our brainstem. So our brainstem comes right up in that area, and the pons is in that area, and it's connected to the eighth cranial nerve. So you may need to massage the eighth cranial nerve, or just basically tap on it to reduce the pressure and the buzzing sound of tendonitis. And I found that that helps a lot of people, even within my consultations. I try to just share with them how to get rid of that buzzing sound. And usually the time that works, if you continue to do that like every 10 minutes, it'll calm down the buzzing noise. Other than that, then you'll just have to find something that's soothing to cover up that noise. And that's not always a good thing. All right, so swimmer's ear. We can get rid of swimmer's ear by, if you've been swimming, you don't want to wait no longer than 2 days to clear out that water in your ear. If it happens longer than 2 days, then it's time to go see a doctor. Maybe they have a drying out method. And my drying out method is basically to go to the sauna. Go to the sauna. And a lot of swimmers are already doing this. When they get out of the pool, they'll go to the sauna to make sure everything's drying out properly.